What is up, my Whovian homies? I am the Doctor Who Kid, and wow, the Star Beast was amazing! David Tennant was back, Catherine Tate was back. Oh, honestly, just really lovely all around. But did you know that even though this is the 14th Doctor's first adventure to be seen on TV, this isn't actually his first adventure, period? Oh no. Over the past year, Doctor Who magazine has been chronicling what happened to the 14th Doctor right after the regeneration, and if you're curious as to what was going on over there, well, how about I fill you in, shall I? Shortly after the Doctor's latest regeneration, he gets distracted when the TARDIS detects a distress signal, which ends up leading him towards Wembley Stadium, 1966, during the fateful match that caused England to win the World Cup. He soon detects a family of alien tourists in the crowd, but then realizes there's a much bigger problem afoot when the stadium is crashed by Daleks, who wind up exterminating everything in sight. During the chaos, he instructs a woman called Georgie, who has absconded with a particularly iconic trophy, into the TARDIS in order to take shelter, but unfortunately he winds up getting captured by the Daleks, and while there he ends up making a surprising revelation. The Daleks' exterminator guns can't hurt him, at all. This leads the Doctor to reach the conclusion that the Daleks are not actually real. In fact, none of this is real. He somehow ended up in some kind of simulation. The Daleks don't take too kindly to this news, as they end up destroying Earth in retaliation. Thankfully, the Doctor's theory about the simulation is proven right when he gets kidnapped by these two masked individuals, who turn out to be gorilla ladies. And they're also employees for a Dalek theme park called the Dalek Dome, where basically tourists can spend money to run around in simulations of various different zones, each of which contain a Dalek invasion. For instance, there's Earth 1966, which we've already seen, a medieval King Arthur fantasy setting where Daleks fight dragons, the jungles of Spiridon from Planet of the Daleks, and so much more. In the Dalek Dome, the Doctor meets Georgette Gold, an employee who is also the visual basis for Georgie, the woman he met in Earth 1966. This is where he learns more about how the Dalek Dome actually works. As it turns out, they basically scavenged a bunch of fallen Dalek mutants, extracted them from their casings, and, well, imprisoned them into cryogenic chambers and fed into simulations, essentially acting as the consciousness for every single simulated Dalek. However, the Daleks from 1966, realizing that their reality is a simulation, concoct a plan to escape into reality thanks to the TARDIS. And then, to make things even worse, the Daleks destroy the Doctor's sonic screwdriver! His Swiss Army Sonic made of real Sheffield steel! The Doctor is able to stall for time long enough for the Daleks to melt. As it turns out, the substance they're all made of can't actually sustain itself properly in reality. Unfortunately, Georgie happens to overhear this, and, in a desperate attempt to preserve her own existence, winds up seeking refuge and asking for help in Skaro. Specifically, Skaro as it was depicted in the TV Century 21 comic strips. The TV Century 21 Daleks aren't too happy to learn they're in a simulation either, but upon realizing the truth, they basically decide to not only invade the Dalek Dome, but also to destroy every other simulation in existence in order to extract the psychoplasm needed in order to keep them alive longer until a more permanent solution can be acquired. And with the reluctant aid of the Doctor, they're able to figure out a way to do that by using the extracted psychoplasm in order to literally simulate a moon full of the mathematicians required to be able to devise a more permanent solution. However, upon realizing that the Daleks aren't going to stop at just existing and will literally move on to the usual conquest and extermination they're known for, Georgie decides to betray the Daleks at the cost of her own life. This ends up freeing Georgette from the hypnosis, and her and the Doctor wind up seeking refuge and asking for help from another Emperor Dalek, specifically the Dalek Emperor from Evil of the Daleks. They soon manage to form an alliance, and, reaching out to the other Dalek Emperors in all the other simulations and letting them know what's going on, they manage to form a tentative truce long enough to work together and defeat the TV Century 21 Daleks and their Golden Emperor from conquering the Earth, though not before the Golden Emperor manages to cause a massive amount of civilian casualties over on the real Earth. With the Golden Emperor defeated and the day saved, the rest of the Daleks who escaped into reality melted. The Doctor ultimately decides to leave the Dalek Dome, only to realise that the iconic trophy from Wembley has melted all over his console. As he enters flight, the Doctor hopes that the melted trophy hasn't damaged the circuitry too much, as he wouldn't want to end up back on Skaro anytime soon. And hey, wouldn't you know it, that's exactly where he ended up in the Children in Need special. Whoops. And that is pretty much it for Liberation of the Daleks. I have been the Doctor Who Kid, so long folks, and next time I'll be discussing what happened in the Star Beast. But not the one you're thinking of.